Hello, welcome back. I'm Byron. I am currently getting crushed in the fall of Rome scenario as the Anglo-Saxons. Civilization 3 Conquest is the game. And yeah, they're just closing it on all sides. They've taken a city, which is bad for them because I could take it back, and that cost them an elimination point. Just getting crushed here. So, let's see what's in the news. While I lose. Ha ha ha, that rhymed. Disney deal set to value Fox at more than $75 billion. This makes me wonder if the Simpsons world will be part of the streaming service. And from what I've seen, it may not be. They're buying certain things, but it looks like animation is not one of them. Well, this is a sponsored story, but it says air taxes. Taxes for flight are about to go up. The tax deal seems to be finalized. Corporate tax rate 21%. Which weeks I'm with it. The top tax rate has been cut to 37% from 39.6%. Repeal the alternative minimum tax. A $10,000 cap for state and local taxes deductions. So if you pay state and local taxes, you're going to cap at $10,000 to what can be deducted from your federal taxes. Looks like they may have repealed the Obamacare tax. I'm not quite sure. They're authorizing drilling in Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. I think that's what ANWR is. ANWR. Yeah, ANWR. Bigger paychecks in February. $1.5 trillion to the national debt. Could cause interest rates to rise. meaning the benefit of a corporate tax rate be completely washed out. The federal interest rate is the next story. So I'll talk about that later. Dow Jones closed at 24,505. Some Republican senators are hesitant. Bob Corker, my deficit concerns have not been alleviated. I wonder if that failsafe is still in the bill that he was talking about last time. From upsetting where Moore's Law says this popped up. I don't know how this app works, but this popped up as a thing, but it says it's good they didn't elect him. It's difficult because if the accusations happen before the vote takes place and the voters still vote you in, does the Senate really have a right to kick you out? I don't know. If it happens afterwards, then yeah. And if new evidence comes to light, making it that abundantly clear, I guess, if he's actually convicted of something, if a grand jury does something, I don't know. Anyway, on to interest rates. I did not see the lower income tax rate. From what I saw, it was supposed to be, I didn't see it in that story, but from what I saw, it's supposed to be, I think, 12%. It doesn't affect me that much, but they raised the upper limit of the bracket. I was about to hit the next tax bracket, but now with the limit raised, I'm nowhere near it. So that's the real benefit for me, personally. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates on Wednesday. I just bought a car 2 days ago, so that's good. I built a city in the middle of nowhere. Why'd I do that? I have no memory of doing that. I think iron? I didn't do it for the iron. No. So the Fed says growth is at 1.8%. The White House says that the tax plan will create, let's call it 3%. So I bet to 5%. So it should be 5% growth next year if the White House and the Fed are right. A third rate hike of the year. This agrees with the last one that the tax cuts in Congress would have a modest effect on growth. Janet Yellen signals all clear for the U.S. economy. As performing. Synchronized expansion is the term she used for the global economy. Ultra low unemployment, below 4% in 2018 and 2019. Continued low interest rates. Yet little movement on inflation. Excuse me. The dollar fell against a basket of currencies. Trade is a U.S. short. The securities market seems to think that rates will only increase twice next year rather than 3 times as the Fed is saying. Well, this here says 2.5% GDP increase. Maybe that's due to inflation. Maybe that's the difference. Economic growth of 1.8%, inflation of 0.7%, so 2.5% growth in GDP. Okay, so the impact of the tax plan, Yellen says, would mainly increase aggregate demand. And it has, quote, some potential to raise investment. So interest will be 3.1 in 2020, is what this is predicting right here. According to Reuters, by 2020, 3.1% interest. Chicago and Minneapolis dissented in the decision to raise interest rates. Two Reuters journalists arrested in Myanmar. They've been working on a story of a military crackdown on the Muslim minority, Rohingya Muslim minority. Alright, so I'm pushing into Rome, Italy, Italia. Along with the French, aims to regain the world's largest oil producer wants to gain market share. Saudi Arabia is the one shouldering the brunt of output reductions. I mean, if the Russians and the Americans are not part of OPEC, and OPEC has lost a lot of power due to recent Russian and American expansion in oil production. They really can't control the market the way they used to. But if they start working with Russian companies, it'll only be the US who is really fighting OPEC. China. Alright. That's just a bunch of oil stuff. Saudi Arabia is trying to work with Russia, is trying to get market share in India and China. That was about the story. Okay, so here's my opinion on net neutrality. Internet service providers are allowed to charge consumers more for faster internet, but they're not allowed to charge, like, producers more. That doesn't quite seem fair. There may be something I'm missing. I wonder how this relates to, like, phones and stuff offering free streaming services with their plans. I wonder what the relationship is there. And some of them don't offer the free services, but they allow the bandwidth to not count against your bill. Like, if your Netflix streaming doesn't count for your total bandwidth, is one of the plans I saw. I don't have a problem with it in cell phones because it's a competitive market, but for land-based internet, maybe. Lockheed Martin may top Boeing in a race to supply Canada jets. So, what does this have to do with Bombardier? Okay, so Canada's investing in their own air force. Okay. Ottawa on Tuesday scrapped plans to buy 18 Boeing Super Hornets and made clear the company would not win a contract for 88 jets unless it dropped a trade challenge against Canadian plane maker Bombardier. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so Boeing accuses Bombardier of dumping airplanes in U.S. markets. Oops. Oh, my bad. I went over.